How to become an SAP EWM consultant. Hi everyone, my name is Milos, SAP Logistics Solution Architect for Cortrust, and today we're going to talk about a question I was asked by a couple of you, and it is, I already have some work experience, Milos. I really like SAP, I really like EWM, I would like to become an EWM consultant. So what does it really take? What are the next steps? What do I need to do if I already have some work experience, but it's not really yet SAP or it's not SAP EWM? How do I move and become an SAP EWM consultant? Well, first of all, I'm going to exclude now the people who are just starting to work. So if you're in your first 3 years in the work environment, this is not for you. This is for someone who's already some years working, maybe 5 plus, maybe in the business side of things. Maybe they're doing warehouse operations, maybe they're a team lead in logistics, maybe they're doing transportation planning, maybe something completely different, okay? But they're not an SAP consultant, and they're not an SAP EWM consultant, all right? So what would be my advice on how to become one? Well, the most important thing is the experience. So what you want is to find a way to get into a company where you will acquire relevant experience in that domain, even if your official title is not yet an SAP EWM consultant. The best way to do this, if you're working on the business side of things, well, if you're a developer, it would be to develop something relevant for SAP and move into developing EWM functionalities to then move into the functional EWM consultant. So that's a specific developer's path. But I think for a developer, it's fairly clear what to do to move to functional and to move to EWM. Just do developments for EWM. For someone in the business, it is to, first of all, consider joining if they already are not in an SAP customer company. So you need to be an end user of SAP EWM, and specifically within that company to become a super user. So you want to be the expert on the business side of how to use EWM. You want to be working closely with the IT and really spending time on the system, spending time understanding how EWM works, and being able to put that on a CV and say, yes, I have EWM experience as an end user, and specifically as a key user, super user. So the second thing is, if even better, would be to join an existing project. So it could be an S4 implementation project where your role would be on the business side to be, again, a key user, super user. Why? Because different from just using the system, when you're setting it up, when you're testing, when you're developing, you're gaining project experience, which means, one, you need to know a lot more about the system and you'll get to learn a lot more. Two, you gain relevant project experience, which is useful really for any SAP consultant, and specifically for SAP EWM consultant. So the main thing you need to do, therefore, is find a company that has SAP, join it, start becoming a key user, EWM key user. And the second thing is try join a project as a business key user. The next step, do you need training? Training helps, but honestly, if someone was to come to me and just say, hey, I did EWM training, so I'm qualified, I know logistics. No, in general, not. It's not enough. You need a lot of training, and no training will be ever enough. You need a real life experience. So back to point one, training basically tells me you want to do extra effort, you want to go extra mile, you're really serious about this, potentially spend some money on this, but it doesn't necessarily prove anything in terms of knowledge. I would still go and ask you very concrete questions, which a training usually doesn't allow you to grasp and to fully understand and to be able to answer properly. Real life experience is what it takes. The other thing is, a certification is definitely something positive and valuable for any consultant, but usually it might be tough to get a certification if you're not already experienced to a certain degree. The other thing I would do is to get references. So what you want to do is you want senior people, someone that has experience, maybe your manager or your former manager, to really write a good recommendation letter for you, showcasing your abilities and specifically your abilities in pursuing an SAP EWM consultant position. So a very good, strong reference letter definitely is a big plus in an interview process. And last but not least, once you get some experience, once you go through potentially some trainings, once you get your reference letter, whenever you're in the interview, say exactly what you know. So don't try talk your way out of things. Just state clearly what you know, what you're good at, and highlight your strengths. So for sure, the technical side of things is likely not going to be your strength. The functional side of things, having the ability to really know the business and not just be a consulting background, but having a business background, will be probably your best selling card in the interview, and would be something that would allow you to get your next SAP EWM consultant position. So aim for those functional roles. So don't be too technical, because there's other people who are going to be stronger technically than you if you already spent years in the industry on the business side. I hope you find this all useful. Actually, let me know if you want to know, for someone starting out, how do I move from an SAP module, so an SAP consultant, to specifically EWM. So if you're doing PP or anything else, how do I move to become EWM? What should I do? I look forward to your feedbacks, your comments. Have a great day. Bye, everyone.